Welcome to the Record Machine Show, a podcast featuring interviews from indie and renowned artists from all genres of music. Now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
Welcome to the Record Machine Show. I'm James Michael Hollenstein, and today's episode is all about the long road, the grind, the near misses, the reinvention, and the perseverance it takes to truly survive in rock and roll. My guest today is Gary Shea, a bassist, a songwriter, founding member of New England and Alcatrazz, and a true backbone figure in hard rock history. Gary's story isn't about overnight success or hype. It's about a commitment to music, learning the business the hard way, and staying true to your craft through decades of change. That journey began in late 1970s when Gary co-founded New England, one of the most polished and melodic hard rock bands of the era. With their self-titled debut album produced by Paul Stanley of KISS, New England became AOR radio favorites and delivered a timeless classic with Don't Ever Wanna Lose Ya. In 1983, Gary took the next bold step, forming Alcatrazz in Los Angeles alongside Jimmy Waldo, Graham Bonnet, Uvena, and a young guitarist who just arrived in the US and was already turning heads, Yngwie Malmsteen. Their debut, No Parole from Rock and Roll, established Alcatrazz as a band known for elite musicianship, powerful songwriting, and an evolving lineup that always put music first. Through every chapter, Gary Shea has remained a constant, holding down the foundation and carrying the vision forward. That entire journey is now documented in his book, No Bass, No Party, an honest, no-nonsense look at the realities of the music business. The highs, the lows, the setbacks, the humor, and the survival. The book is available now on Amazon.com. And the story continues today with Prior Convictions, the brand new Alcatrazz album on Brave Words Records, featuring classic songs re-recorded alongside two powerful new tracks. Before we bring Gary in, we're going to kick things off with one of those new tracks from Prior Convictions. So right now, let's put the needle to the record and check out Stand and Wait Your Turn. You just heard Stand and Wait Your Turn by Alcatrazz, and I have Gary Shea on the line for a chat. Congratulations on the release of your new book, No Bass, No Party, available now on Amazon. It's an honest and powerful look at your journey so far. Let's start at the beginning, though. In the book, you talk about the pull of music at a young age. What first drew you to music, and why did the bass become your first instrument?
Well, my grandfather played piano, played for Rudy Valley for a little bit, if people know who Rudy Valley was back in the 30s, and grew up with a lot of music around. He always had bands. His three brothers all had bands, played sax and clarinet. And when I was a teenager, some friends of mine started playing instruments, and I thought that looked like fun. So I got a cheap guitar, worked my way into a brand new Fender guitar, and I was taking lessons. And one day, my friend and I were in what was like a mom and pop Radio Shack back in those days, a place we could test tubes, and they worked on television sets and radios, which no one does anymore. Mm-hmm. And while we were in there, on the wall were a number of used instruments up on the wall. And there was a Fender bass up there, Fender Precision bass, just like the one that James Jamerson used when he played all the Motown songs. Mm-hmm. And Bob Babbitt, too, also played the same precision bass. And I took it off the wall, and I said, this is really cool. Like a big Fender Stratocaster. I'm 6 feet tall, so it felt great. And it was heavy. It's 4 monstrous strings. Look at these suckers. And when we plugged it in, it shook the store. Things rattled. I said, this is really cool. So I bought it. It was used, and I said, how much for this? And he said, $120 or so. I said, sold. So that day I became a bass player. I didn't think of it driving over there, but when I was driving home, I couldn't stop looking at it going, this is cool. And eventually I sold my guitar to my friend and just worked on bass full time. And,
I remember the story in the book when you said when you plugged it in and you started playing it, you could feel the vibration going through your feet and into your body. It was like like the coolest feeling you ever felt.
Right. Where would rap be without bass? Where would anything be without bass? I mean, bass brings it all together, and in rock music, it's got depth. And, you take the bass off of your music in your car, it doesn't sound so hot.
Absolutely.
So that's what the bass does. Bass goes between the drums and the other instruments and does a whole interlocking thing. It's the heartbeat of the band. I didn't realize when I was young, but when I studied it and said, oh yeah, this is definitely, it's what you hum. It's what you dance to when you're, dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. It's the bass, and not humming the piano parts particularly, unless it's a lick or something like that. But the bass is the heartbeat of any kind of song, whether it's jazz or salsa, country music. Boom, 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 boom. Country music, yeah. Bass.
Dance music too.
Yeah.
When you go to a club, you hear the bass, boom, right. Boom, boom.
Polka music, bop, 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 bop.
Definitely.
So that's the bass world.
Yeah. Growing up, who were your biggest musical influences, and how did they shape your song first approach?
Well, I grew up in the 60s, so everything I heard then was the pop music. It was all solo artists like Bobby Rydell and bands like the Supremes and the Motown music. Frankie Valli and Four Seasons, Young Rascals. And then, of course, all the English bands came along, and that was all pretty interesting and exciting. But they all had cool songs. So we aspired to write our own songs that were similar, if we could compete with that. Could we make songs that were, that would stand the test of time like those songs have, and get graded on it? Could we get a record deal, a major record deal, and have the record god shine a light on us? So we set out to do that, and that was the goal. And we just kept our heads down and worked really hard at it, stuck with it.
Awesome. You described the early years as a real grind, clubs, uncertainty, and learning the business the hard way. What were some of the early reality checks that prepared you for what was ahead? Well,
number one is never take anything for granted. Mm-hmm. My high school band did pretty well. We merged with another high school band when I was graduating high school, and we had 6 guys, and I thought that's pretty cool. We had 2 keyboard players, 2 guitar players. And then one day they decided they wanted to have 4 guys and threw me out of the band. I couldn't believe it. And it was the band I started. We used to rehearse at my house. And I couldn't get over that. But I got over that, and I made me even more determined to keep going forth. And I knew I had to get out of Dodge, where I was living, and go to the bigger cities and stuff and play with people. So it's always been never take anything for granted. Even when we've had record deals, even now we have record deals, and the phone can ring and the whole thing just changes. If something goes south, and I say it's like a deck of cards. There's like 52 things got to be lined up for the whole thing to go smooth. If somebody gets sick or the truck falls down, or the record company busts up, it's over. And there's so many bands that have had those kind of problems. And people say those guys were great. Why did they break up? Because of those reasons. You know, you have to get along together. You have to have the same vision. It's really hard to find guys that see the same thing. You have a little business. A band is a business. You have five owners. Two guys want to paint the store blue. Two guys want to paint it red. And one guy doesn't care. He's drunk. You can't get anything done because it's 2 against 2. Right. So it's not even vote. And then so there's going to be a discord there. And that's the beginning of the band breaking up as soon as that stuff starts happening. And so I've just gone through the minefield. It's like walking through a minefield. You can be a trained person with mines, but it's still luck. Yeah. And you can get to the end of the minefield and go, man, I made all of a sudden a hand grenade comes out of nowhere. Boom, bye-bye. Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. It's a real landmine kind of thing. You have to walk gently and keep your eyes open, your ears open, and hopefully get through all the obstacles that are there. There's lots of them.
Yeah. That makes sense. How did New England come together, and what was the original vision when you and Jimmy Waldo started the band?
Well, I had a Boston band at one point back in the very early 70s, and we rented a house in Connecticut near Yukon, and there was a club there. And a friend of mine who was the drummer in my first band was going to Yukon. He said he saw this amazing band from North Carolina playing in this club, and it was like in Palmer with a lead singer. They had no guitar player. And it was progressive rock music. Every song was 30 minutes long. They had tons of gear and just pretty much going wild. My friend was overly impressed because kept raving about them. Saying, yeah. No, they're really good. They're really good. Yeah. What were they called? And they said Fatback. And I thought that's kind of a strange term for a progressive rock band. But I remembered it, Fatback. And so 3 years later, I had gone to England, lived in England, and played in English bands, came back to Boston. I was looking for something to have happen. And someone told me about a band looking for a bass player. And I asked what's the name of the band. They said, well, Jack and a bunch of other names. Kind of band they keep changing the name every couple of months for different people. Stay one step ahead of some people. And the person talking said that the band was called Fatback at one point. And I said, Fatback? And I said, did they talk with accents from the South? She says, yeah, they do. I said, give me the phone number. And sure enough, it was Jimmy Waldo. And it was the band Fatback. And they lived in the Boston area. Mm-hmm. They owned a house in a small suburban town, a little split oval ranch. And I went there. They had 16 bass players before me. I was number 17.
Wow.
Went downstairs. It would be the rec room in a suburban home. It was just filled with guitars and amplifiers and modified crazy stuff, things hooked to stuff. Wires, when they didn't ground, they just stuck in things. But when they turned it on, it sounded fabulous. And it sounded like nobody around. It's like this. The original music sounded really cool. I said, this is pretty cool. These guys are great. And they'd added a guitar player, which was John Fanney. They also changed drummers, which was Hirsch Gardner. And I was replacing the original bass player from the band, the original band Fatback. And they also had changed singers. And so we went off and started playing clubs and college party, campuses kind of thing around Montreal and Maine and New Hampshire, Vermont. And the band broke up after about 6 months because Jimmy and John got a chance later with Annie McClune, who was like Boston's version of Linda Ronstadt. And then she got a record deal, and they asked them to be on the record. Good for them, bad for me. So I started driving taxi cabs, which is no fun, and went to California. And they called me back about a year and a half later. The album had come and gone, band broke up, and they were going to put the other band back together again, minus the lead singer. John would do the lead singing vocals, and he had a friend in Philadelphia we could record 16-track demos on a spec deal. And I was in California at the time, and I was told I had the gig with Al Stewart for a tour just before a year the Cat came out. I had the record. I learned that music, audition, and I was being told I had the gig. It was a lot of money back then to be in the band as a touring band. And those guys called me 3 times, and twice I said, no way. I'm in California. It's the end of October. It's 80 degrees here. It's snowing in Massachusetts. not me. But I went back and I said, I'd rather be a 25% of my own band than be a hired guy, and there's no stability in that. So we rehearsed for a year and a half, did demos in Philadelphia, had 16 really good sounding quality recordings. And eventually the third set of tapes that we did after a year and a half caught the ear of everybody in New York City and LA and London. They all got on airplanes and came to see us and offer us record deals. And 6 presidents. Clive Davis came to run us. I mean, the head of Epic, the head of RSO, the head of Chrysalis, Elektra. And they all said the same thing. Clive said he was signed to Kinks, to his new label Air. So we were heavy, wanted a heavy band. Elektra said they had Queen, but they wanted an American Queen. We could fit that. They signed the Cars. They said, but they're kind of wimpy. You guys are heavy duty. We need a band like you on our label, as well as the other bands. The other adult labels saying that. So at that point, we had no name. We decided to use the name New England. And we thought if anybody had the guts to use that name after the band Boston got famous, it would be us. Get up to the plate and take a whack at it. Because we had done all those things. And the other band had not really been. There was no Boston band for years playing in the gutters that we were running around. It was kind of a studio thing to put together a project, not really a band. So, and myself being from Connecticut and John being from Boston, we thought, New England's been in my mind since I was a little kid. So let's use that name. It's the name you're not going to forget. So many band names are terrible. You can't remember the name of the band. It might be a cool name, but you can't remember it.
Right.
But New England, I've heard of you guys. No, you haven't, but you've heard of New England. They say, I heard of Alcatrazz. No, you heard of Alcatrazz Island. You don't really know the band Alcatrazz, but they think they do. Yeah. And those are both great names for that reason. So that's how New England came together.
Awesome. When New England started gaining traction, did it feel like things were finally lining up, or were you always aware of how fragile success could be?
Well, we always knew about the fragility, but things were definitely lining up. The planets were in our favor. I mean, once Bill Coyne came to see us, manager of KISS, what happened was a guy from Elektra Records, played our demo tape. One of Bill Coyne's guys at a KISS gig in Providence, Rhode Island, which is only 40 miles away from where we were outside Boston. I lived in downtown Boston, but we would take the subway out to the boondocks where Hirsch lived and play out in the woods. And that was Rick Aliberti, who was Bill Coyne's right-hand guy at the time. And he loved it. So who the hell are these guys? He said, these guys are the next big thing. They're in the woods. They're great. And the big thing became, well, they sound amazing, but can they do it live? And everybody said live. This guy's even better live. It's heavy live. The tape doesn't capture how heavy the band. The band's heavy, like AC/DC, Queen. It's kaboom. It's not. They're not fooling around. Right. And we had a little cottage with the walls knocked out, and the sound that little house rocked. We had it tweaked just perfectly. It wasn't too loud and feedback. And we had great showcases on our own terms. We had done showcases before, and you never want to play in a bar and try and get Mr. Bay to come to a bar or see you in a rehearsal studio in Manhattan. We did one in SIR in New York City. We blew the power right in the middle of the whole thing. And these guys go, Stones rehearsed here, nobody blew the power. Well, we did. Fix it, And it blew our whole thing. So we're not ever going to do this again. From now, our own terms. And they all came to our house. It was very relaxed. We got to speak to everybody. And we were able to pick out of 6 record companies what was going on. Bill Coyne became our manager, and things picked up, and off we went off and running. So the deal was to take these 16-track songs and we record them on 24-track machines. And it was 1978, and the record came out in the spring of '79. So we went to Los Angeles to record the music. We got to do the vocals at Electric Ladyland, Jimmy Young's place in Greenwich Village in New York City, and mix it at Trident Studios in Abbey Road in England. And not bad for the first record, and not bad for a bunch of guys in the woods. So yeah, things lined up massively. I mean, it was just crazy stuff. Also, we had 12 guys working for us. It was just a whole different operation.
Cool. Working with Paul Stanley on New England's debut was a huge milestone. What lessons did that experience teach you?
Well, Paul is a real professional. Even at that point, he'd been around. They were on top of the world even back then. And we found out we're all the same age. We liked all the same influences. We all loved The Who and bands like Free and Terry Reid and all kinds of obscure things we all agreed on. And it was a good choice for him to produce the band in conjunction with us. So we really had worked out all the music. We didn't need a producer who was going to rewrite everything and bring in a different keyboard player, or didn't like the way the drums sounded or something. We pretty much just laid the whole thing down on 24 track with Paul being like our coach, saying, this is good, let's try this, blah, blah, blah. So we were in their world, their office in Manhattan. That was just a whirlwind, 2 floors of activity. They had 40 people working there. They had another floor in Westwood, another 20 people working there just for the band.
Wow.
40 people that are all, big time lawyers and ex-record people and doing they had their own in-house promotion team that worked with radio stations day and night, and publicity and production. Other bands were coming to them for advice on how to do hydraulic staging, fireworks, and all that stuff, the consulting. Mm-hmm. So when we wanted to buy more equipment, we were in the right place. So that's a lot of fun. Scary, a lot of fun.
Sounds like it. Don't Ever Want to Lose Ya became a lasting AOR classic. At the time, did you realize it had staying power? Well,
we thought it was a really good song. Rick called it in the record business a dashboard slammer. Mm-hmm. Air guitar kind of song that people would, when it comes on, you start playing a guitar, smashing your desk or something, the dashboard. And a lot of people don't know it's us. When they do hear that song, they go, you guys, I love that song. Didn't know it was who did it, but that's you guys. That's pretty cool. It made the top 30. And again, we didn't know at the time if it had any staying power, but it did. A lot of people resonated with a lot of people. Our first album, we got a lot of fans off the first record from all the touring we did, especially with the young kids that came to see KISS. A lot of them said the same thing, that they came to their first KISS, their first concert, someone with their parents, to see KISS, but we were the first band they ever saw. When they saw us, they go, who are these guys? These guys are really cool. And we did our thing. We got encores on the KISS Dynasty tour. And we were out for blood. We sounded real good, played hard. And a lot of kids bought our first records. We have a lot of KISS fans that are also New England fans. So we share some of that with them.
You played the Garden too, right?
Yeah, twice. We played Madison Square Garden with KISS. And I just got chucked out of high school, 10 years before that, for long hair and clothes from Greenwich Village, and tell the principal we're going to play at Madison Square Garden someday, screw off and die.
It's always nice when you're right?
Yeah, I stood against my amps that night, and my roadie was my friend from my first band, who's a guitar player, who came along on tour with us to be our guitar tech to us. And we were from high school, standing at Madison Square Garden, a row of bass amps, a truckload of just bass amps, the whole right. All stage right was bass amps.
That's funny.
And it sounded awesome. It's like just as powerful as anybody else out there at the time. And so that was really rewarding. That was a good night.
I'm sure it was. And No Bass, No Party. You talk about being so close during the New England years. Emotionally, how hard was it to come to terms with that?
When the band finally broke up?
Yeah.
It just sucked. John, for some reason, wanted to quit the band. He's a family guy, and he didn't want to tour, and he left the band. It kind of left us in a lurch because we weren't expecting that. We were working on our 4th album, and we had another dozen songs pretty much already going along again for the 4th record. And we had contacted Todd Rundgren, who had done our 3rd record, and asked him if he'd record us again. He said, yeah, sure. Let me know when you guys, get it together. And then John quit. So we had to replace him. And that was a big deal. We had to put the word out with all the guitar companies and people we knew. And we had guys from Ted Nugent's band and Billy Squire's band, all kinds of guys blowing to audition for us. About 10 guys who were in, well-known bands. And Gene Simmons told us about Vinnie Vincent, who had been working with them in a studio in Los Angeles. And he was working with Susie Quattro, the Pinky Tuscalero thing on Happy Days. Mm-hmm. So he was at Paramount Studios writing that music and writing songs with KISS. And Gene said he was too short to be in KISS. We could have him. Because we needed somebody who could sing lead vocal, write good songs, and play a great guitar. That's a hard thing for 3 things for anybody, no matter what instrument you play. Mm-hmm. And he came to Massachusetts from Los Angeles, and he had sent us his tape. It sounded really good. It was like heavy Foreigner. We thought, this is really cool music. So we learned that music, unbeknown to him. So he came on audition for us. We played our songs. That's cool. Then we played his songs. He just blew his mind. I couldn't believe that we did that. Couldn't believe that we learned his demo tape. And this sounded great. And he said, man, nobody plays like you guys in Los Angeles. What are we going to do? So we fell asleep on it. Next day we decided, let's just break up the whole New England band, start a whole new band in Los Angeles and go from there. I forget trying to keep the New England thing going and trying to replace John, just leave it like it was. And that's what happened. So again, we went out there just on locked my apartment door I had for 15 years, never saw it again. Just go by. We're in LA. And then we rehearsed with Vinny for 2 months, and he got offered to play in KISS. So now we're back to zero again. And Jim and I decided to stay in Los Angeles. Hirsch went back to Boston, and eventually we started Alcatrazz.
Yeah.
Long story short,
yeah,
that was the jumping off point there.
After New England ended, you mentioned you started Alcatrazz in Los Angeles. What were you hoping to do differently this time around?
Should be even heavier than New England was. Just maybe less ballads. Not that we didn't like ballads, but just be a more aggressive music and more European sound, like Deep Purple kind of rock, and like the Who, as opposed to a more country flavored thing like the bands in the West Coast or artists like Tom Petty, maybe. Pretty much balls to the wall and go for it, like Graham had done with Michael Schenker. And still does. And the guys in Rainbow and Deep Purple are still out there too, doing this, still playing Smoke on the Water, and they play it great.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better than those guys. So that was kind of our role model for that. And that's what we decided. I met Andy Truman, who was a manager, and Graham was his neighbor, and they talked about getting a band together, not a backup band, but a band. Because Graham's not really a business guy. He doesn't want to answer the phone every day and do things. That was more Jim and I do that stuff. And so we met, and Andy said Bear McGraw from Joe Fields Hall was going to be the drummer, and Zal from the band Nazareth was going to be the guitar player. So we got a record deal with a small label in LA that a friend of ours from MCA recommended through our New England connection. Another person, Andy's neighbor, was the head of MCA, and he loved New England. Thought, we got a raw deal, and our record company blew up on us and just told us about Rockshire. So we got a record deal just on who we were. And there's some music out there that was recorded during rehearsals and things, and people think that's our demo tapes. The band never did demos. We just got a deal on who we were. And so that happened. And while we were doing that, Barry got a call to be on Robert Plant's first album from Led Zeppelin. He's going to do a solo record. Who would want to be on that? So I guess where he's going, he's not going to come back to LA. He's going to stay in England, do that. So now we have no drummer. Couldn't find a guitar player. We had to find 2 guys over the course of a weekend. So off we went with that. We auditioned Lawrence Jubbar from Paul McCartney's band, who was a great guitar player, obviously, but not the right guy. His first comment was, "Can we turn down?" Wrong guy. That didn't work out. And the next day, Andy had found about Yngwie, who was in a local band in L.A., and he thought something was a prank phone call. He was getting punked. But his friends were saying Graham Bonnet, because he lived and breathed Rainbow and Deep Purple and Ritchie Blackmore. And he came to the audition, and he looked just like Ritchie Blackmore, blonde hair, white go-go boots, the same crucifixes and jewelry and the bracelets and the motion, the carbon copy. And I thought, that's kind of strange. But he played great. He played all that kind of music, marvelously. So we got him. Then it took a little long to find drummers. It took us about a month and a half to find drummers. We auditioned a bunch of guys. We got Uvena, who had been more of a session guy, and did that first record. The whole thing was done in about 3 months, maybe, rehearsing every day and putting those songs together collectively. Graham had written some songs. Jimmy had written some songs. And the song "Isle of the Sun," that's probably the most popular Alcatrazz song, was actually a New England song. Jimmy had written it for that 4th album that never happened. And Graham liked it, and we played it for him, just the 3 of us, before we met any other guys. And Graham thought it was cool. He said it sounded like a Motown song to him. He wanted to rewrite the lyrics. So he did, and he wrote about it being about Alcatrazz, and that became Isle in the Sun. And he wrote General Hospital, a couple of looks like that. So it was a contribution of all 5 people, and it went smoothly. We were quick and efficient and eager to do it. Couldn't wait to get up in the morning and do it again. It sounded great, and we had a record deal and a chance to put on a record. So that became Alcatrazz.
Nice. Alcatrazz has been known for its evolving lineup and elite talent. As a founding member, how did you balance the strong personalities and big musicianship while keeping the band grounded?
You take the amplifier and don't put the ground wire in. So you touch it. No. You just work with people, it was a mutual coming together for everybody. We're all on the same level. It wasn't like there was different levels of this. It's not like a backup band where maybe two guys in this backup band are famous guys and three guys are new guys or anything. It was a strong band with experience. And like with Steve, he had just done 6 records with Frank Zappa band. And that's just beyond crazy because that's just really hard music, really amazing musicianship to say he'd done that. And he was very focused and very professional and worked really, really hard, and he's doing great today since then. So we also had Denny Johnson, the band, who was in Rod Stewart's band, Alice Cooper, played for Derringer for a long time. And then we have Joe Stump, who was a teacher at Berklee College of Music in Boston. He teaches kids how to shred. He's been there for 23 years. He's an associate professor of music at Berklee, teaching guitar, teaching all the complicated stuff. He can play jazz guitar, all kinds of things. He doesn't really play it in Alcatrazz, but he can pick up the guitar and play anything you want to hear well. And it's that caliber of guitar player that we needed to have in the band, and everybody else, in the bass and the drums, everything. This got to be the same thing too. And we have that. So that's been our goal and our motivation.
You've described Alcatrazz as an evolving supergroup with songs to back it up. What's allowed the band to survive and stay relevant for over 4 decades?
Willpower. We had a lot of fans back, and we started off in the 80s. We had a really good fan base. And there was a dormant time for a while when the band wasn't together. Then we got back together, and the spark just happened again. And people picked up their ears and said, "This is really cool." And the band's back doing. We've done now in the 21st century 3 more studio albums. We did 3 in the 80s, done 3 now, and working on number 7 coming up this coming year in 26 will be a 7th studio album, as well as what we just put out, which is kind of a fun project of redoing some of the old songs. So just we're still playing music that people want to hear. I mean, to me, rock music's always going to be there. People said, way back when rock is dead and heavy rock is passe and going to be all synthesizers and whatever, cut your hair short, whatever the deal is. But we never listen to that. Just got to follow your heart, play music you like, and if you have people like it, also that's a really rewarding, great thing. So.
Absolutely. And no bass, no party. You make it clear that lineup changes aren't just business decisions. They're personal. How difficult was it to keep rebuilding while still believing in the band?
Well, in a way, it's kind of real exciting to get new blood. You might be losing a friend or something, or somebody left the band, and the new person brings in a whole new thing. So I've been very fortunate to play with some really great musicians with both bands, with New England, and especially with Alcatrazz, with people coming and going, and being on the management side of the whole thing. It's our band. We hired those guys, and again, that the blood thing brings in new music, and it's a challenge to play new music and make it our sound. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. One of the most striking things about No Bass, No Party is how it avoids the rock star cliches and focuses on endurance and professionalism. Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I was approached by a publisher in Canada, Books We Love Publishing. They wanted to write a series of books by musicians talking about the music business. And they didn't want to hear about my grandmother's apple pie recipe or anything like that, or family life stuff, parties, and the usual mayhem that goes along with being a heavy rock band. So I wrote, I said, well, I can do that, write about, contracts and lawyers and record deals and the publishing deals and how we navigated around some of that stuff, how some of it blew up on our face, even though, again, to expect it still happens, still goes wrong.
Yep.
You can be the best car driver in the world, still have a car accident.
True.
It's just the stroke, luck of the draw. So that's what I did. I just set out to write, put my story along with what I've learned with the music business and music lawyers and lawsuits. Because a lot of people young people that begin music are unaware of that. Mm-hmm. And it's called the music business. It's not just music. It's 85% business and 15% with the talent part of it being the music part.
Right.
And without the business part, you're going to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be flying to your wall. And if you don't understand that, then you're still going to be staying at home. You're going to make some bad decisions. You might have a great song and not own the rights to it. There's some famous bands out there that lost their shirts to this day. They're lost millions and millions of dollars. Bands that, like Billy Joel, your brother-in-law embezzles millions. He's your brother-in-law. He stole $2 million.
That's crazy.
And they're paying attention. I mean, they're they thought they were paying attention. So things can go out of hand quickly. And the higher you go up the ladder of the success thing, no matter what style of music it is, as it gets scarier and scarier. And people get very paranoid. You get a situation where you can't trust people. You don't know who to trust anymore because people will tell you you're great, you're marvelous, next best thing since sliced bread. Oh my God, I can't believe I know you. And you go, yeah, well, if this ends tomorrow and I call you, you're going to pick up the phone? No. Where are you going to be tomorrow if this all fades off? And so you have to pick your friends very, very carefully. And a lot of people get hung up on the star thing of, again, everyone telling them you're great, you're beautiful, and not paying attention to who's paying the bills or what bills aren't being paid. And you get balloon payments on things or lawsuits and things go wrong and it all goes down. So that's a scary thing, the downside of things. Going up is fun. Going up is a great time. It's like being on the Ferris wheel. When you get to the top, this is great. Now you go down, it's kind of, I'm going down now.
Yep, absolutely. In the book, there are moments where the business side of the music feels almost surreal. Were there situations where you just had to shake your head and think, you can't make this stuff up?
Yeah, a bunch of them. We were at our New England in our cottage in the woods, and we were signing the bill of coin for management and NCA Records for a record company. And there's a person from Elektra Records that wanted to manage us. And he'd come with us to New York, and they'd offer him to be like a road manager kind of thing. And I'd asked this person, have you ever booked a Knights of Columbus Hall or an Elks Club or something? And he said, no. And I said, well, how do you expect to book us at Madison Square Garden? Because to me, there's just two kinds of managers. And I call it the David and Goliath theory. You can get your cousin who means well, and he'll lay his life down for you. He's the last guy, but he doesn't know anybody. Or you get Mr. Big. Mr. Big, has Elton John and the Rolling Stones for clients. And when they call, you don't get to be you have to wait. Mm-hmm. So that's the downside of Mr. Big for managers. Got plenty of power, but even like Bill O'Coin, we're trying to get things done sometimes. And he's in Germany with KISS, and of course they're in bed over there. It's noontime here, and they're going to bed. We can't call them for another 6 hours, and something has to be solved immediately on the phone, and they're unavailable. So there's that. Even with a big company like O'Coin Management was. So this person wouldn't take he wouldn't take the deal that was offered to him, and he came by with a thing called a letter of intent, saying that we'd enter in something more formal with him someday. And we said, we're all 27 years old, going, this is a binding little contract. We can get Scrooge signing this. So you go down there, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt to get a good job with us and whatever. He was the number one Northeast guy for Elektra. He discovered the cars, helped Queen get established in America. He was a very successful record guy. I'll give it all up to be our manager. And we said, when you come back, you rip this up, or we're going to have to do bad things. And he came back, and he didn't rip it up. He kept it. He was going to. And about 3 weeks later, we're rehearsing one day in the woods, knock on the door, and said, federal marshal. Well, I got served with papers. We're getting sued for $1 million apiece in federal court in Manhattan. Not down the street, or even downtown Boston, but federal court, New York, for this silly thing going on. He wanted $1 million. They sued Bill Coyne. He was suing MCA. We said, here's where we get dropped like a hot potato. We haven't even started making this new record. And MCA is going to say, there's plenty of bands we can sign besides you guys. The same with the managers. Plenty of guys want me to manage them. But they all said, we're going to stick behind you guys. You guys are that good. We're going to fight this guy. So cool. We went to court. And I'm standing going, we're driving taxi cabs. I mean, I got a little rental place downtown Boston now. Mm-hmm. Where do you get the $1 million? $1 million each. It's like, you're kidding. Where's that coming from? So that's one of those moments where you scratch your head and go, you can't write this stuff. It says, that's so bizarre. And that happened. And we had to go to court, and he won a little grievance money off of us, and that was it. We paid him a few $1,000s. We never paid the remainder, and he disappeared. So that was that. But that was touch and go there for a bit. But the whole thing, we go right down the tube, all that hard work for those years we'd put in. We didn't get paid for 3 years doing music. And there are songs and our way of doing things and the arrangements and stuff. We worked really, really hard on that stuff. We had enough music to do a double record when we first came out. And it was decided to wait on that because the only band ever put out, I think, a double record on the first time around is Chicago. They said, why put out 24 songs if you don't have to? Save some for reserve for the second record, because that's always a toughie to get over that hump for the next record, and the third record, the fourth record. So we did that. So again, you just can't you have to sit there and scratch your head and go, I can't believe this.
I'm sure you got plenty of those throughout the years, right?
Yeah. So I sit there with the phone. It's like, I can't believe it, really. Yeah. Graham Bonnet, we were in Memphis with on the Ted Nugent tour. And he's kind of a pessimist, to say the least. And he called us and said he had multiple sclerosis. He was going to go back to L.A. He was leaving.
Wow.
Middle of the afternoon, we got a show that night in Memphis. We were in a 30-city tour at Ted Nugent. We called the hospital. We said, does he tell you that he drinks 2 6-packs of beer, 3 bottles of NyQuil, a bottle of aspirin, smokes, and then a couple of shots of whiskey every night? And the doctor said, well, that'd be kind of the same symptoms. We said, we thought so too. Getting a bus, you're not going to the airport. And he sang for the next 3 or 4 years, never had MS.
That's
so you sit there and go, I can't believe even telling me this. I got MS. He's a lot of fun. We'd already played in New Year's Eve with Eddie Money. We were in Cleveland. And it was us, the band Saga, and Eddie Money was the headliner. Great PA system. And the people are kind of trickling in. We're the first band. We're doing like 7 songs and we're out of there. It's New Year's Eve. It's all great. Snowing outside. We're in Ohio. And Grant goes up with 2 more songs to go. And he says, I can't hear myself. I'm leaving. And he left the stage. And it was like, no. I walked over to Yngwie. I said, he's gone, man. We got to play 2 songs instrumentally. Okay. So we played, the first song like that, no singing. And the crowd's going, hey, yeah. Something's weird. And the second song like that, yeah. We're like, hey, happy New Year, gotta go. We ran. And he was in the dressing room. It was a big fight, big screaming match. It turns out that he didn't even take the stairs. He walked off the back of an arena stage in the dark and fell on road cases and broke 3 ribs.
Oh, my God.
So he was a hurting puppy next day. He couldn't remember he did any of that. And he sits there and goes, I can't believe we have an opportunity to do what we're doing. And he's doing that stuff and complaining, we should all have our own Learjets or something. I don't know what he wants to expect to happen. We'll be millionaires immediately or something. It's like, calm down with that. He's one of those guys, and he's just fatalistic. So had a lot of those moments for sure.
I'm sure. Looking back now, are there moments from the road or behind the scenes that were miserable at the time, but kind of funny in hindsight?
Probably those. Funny. I don't know. There's just so many things that go wrong or go right. We played with Thin Lizzy in New Orleans, and they want us to go on as the opening act of 3 bands. We were supposed to be special guests, and couldn't figure out why, and they messed with us and turned the lights on early, shortened our set so we couldn't play Don't Want to Lose It. We did it anyway in the dark. Kind of a big fighting backstage, and then the next day in Texas, they blew us off altogether. Put up a big sign said someone in New England's sick and not going to play. And there was a party afterwards for a rock magazine that all the bands were invited to. We went early because we weren't playing, and we were there. And the guy from the Dallas Times came up with Phil and I, then Lizzie, and said, "Why didn't New England get bumped?" And he said, firstly A and B. And he said, "Here's the deal." He said, "Our band's breaking up, and we didn't know who you guys were. And we saw your truck open, all that Pink Floyd gear. We freaked out." He goes, "You guys are really good." He goes, "Take his left-handed compliment. We screw with you guys." I said, "Okay." So we went to the bar and became friends and had a good time. And that's how that ended. So went from kind of crazy stuff to at the bar and drink with the Irish.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of stories like that, but we don't want to divulge too much. We want people to go out and buy the book and read it too, you know? Was there a chapter in the book that was especially difficult to write or revisit?
Yeah, not really, because it's kind of, I mean, I've gone through some painful things of things not going right. You audition somewhere that didn't go right. But it's kind of therapy to talk about it and write it down. So it's been a positive thing. So there wasn't anything that was too dark I couldn't get through or anything like that. So I'm pretty much an optimist, so I don't dwell on some of that stuff. You know, it's there. I just kind of, you know, wrote about it and didn't affect me in a very negative way where I couldn't go on.
In No Bass, No Party, you talk about identity beyond the spotlight. When the noise dies down, who is Gary Shea at his core?
I'm just a family guy, you know. I'm a grandfather. I made it a point a long, long time ago to keep my original friends that weren't musicians. You know, my friends from college and stuff like that. And we're still friends because the music people come and go. And the trends come and go and living in different cities and moving around a lot. So I have a network of friends that are just regular people. Mm-hmm. It's nice to be able to hang out with regular people and not be talking about guitars and tours and contracts and all that stuff. Because a lot of people, like in LA, that's pretty much who all their friends are showbiz people. And you get in this little circle and it's just confining. So it's just nice to be normal, to get out, be able to walk away from that a bit. And that's what good friends are for. That
makes total sense. I totally get that, man.
Right.
You know, at some point, you just want normalcy, right? You don't want all the riffraff and the drama and all that other stuff.
You run away to the circus when you join a band like that. You're going to the circus. So there's gonna be lots of clowns.
Yeah.
There'll be exciting things. There'll be tigers that can eat you. There's gonna be fire that can burn you. You know, all kinds of things can go wrong. You're going to fall off the trapeze wire. Someone didn't set it up right and you broke your leg. So you needed some relaxation, I think, to get away from that sometimes. Mm-hmm. Just say, you know, not same with the touring thing. So I've cut down my touring a little bit, just because. You go around and around and around. And sometimes it's healthier to get off the merry-go-round for a few minutes and do something else, then jump back on. That's fun again.
Absolutely. After finishing No Bass, No Party, did it change the way you look back on your career? And how do you approach the present?
Well, it's just a reflection. You know, I'm happy that I was able to have a life that was, you know, semi-interesting, that I accomplished what I set out to do when I was younger, to, you know, be in a band, get a record deal, and run around the world. So I'm pretty happy about that. So it's just a confirmation. It's good for my grandkids to read it or something and say, I didn't know you did that. Say, yeah, we did. And just to tell the story too, there's a lot of misnomers out there about what happened, what didn't happen, who played in Alcatrazz, who didn't. Mm-hmm. So I got to set the record straight in a few spots. Internet rumors, you know, that have been out there for a long time. Somebody starts saying one thing, and then all of a sudden it's the truth. The thing about us there's demos out there for Alcatrazz. There are no Alcatrazz demos out there. There are board mixes us rehearsing for the tour. All the songs instrumentally, and just playing songs without the singing. It's, you know, you've got to learn the song, you know, backwards and sideways and over again. Not rely on the singer. We're going next. Okay, we're going over here to the second verse. And we'll be able to concentrate and play for 7 minutes a song. Because everything we do is by memory. Mm-hmm. It's written down. We're not reading the music like an orchestra would or other situations. So a lot of time in that. It's really rewarding to just write it down. I go, hey, you know, I did that. That's kind of cool. So I'm happy, and I have no complaints.
That's great. Your new album, Prior Convictions, is officially out on Brave Words Records. How does this chapter of Alcatrazz feel when you look back and compare it to the band's earlier eras?
Well, it's interesting to hear Giles re-sing the songs, and Joe redo the guitars, which is mostly Yngwie's guitar work. In their own shape, they stick pretty much to the game, the roadmap of it all, but twist it a bit here and there. And it was just, we thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do in the downtime of not touring and not doing a new record, to put this record out it was just kind of a fun thing. And the record company said, yeah, dude, that'd be great. Do it, we'll put it out. So now it's done so well right now this week that it's gone into a second pressing. So that's cool. We'll take that.
That's a good thing. The album revisits classic material while introducing new songs. What did the balance mean to you personally?
Well, it shows where we've been, shows where we're going. Shows we can still do what we've always done. You know, we're not sleepy. We're not a bunch of old guys that are clinking along. It's a well-oiled unit, and when the green light comes on, it's go, boom, just like any time before. So it just shows that the transformation, you know, from way back in the 80s, from the 20th century to the 21st century. But here we are, you know, 40, 45 years later, and we're still playing some of those songs in our live set. So it's not like we had to go back and dust off the songs and go, what did we do back then? Nobody remembers. How'd that song go? I mean, it's all fresh. We still play those songs. They're part of our live repertoire.
And you got 2 new ones on there, right?
Yeah, which is an inkling towards the new record, what's going to sound like. It's going to be heavy, you know, balls to the wall kind of thing.
And when is that coming out?
No definite time yet, but probably by springtime. Working on it now.
Awesome. Looking back on the full journey, what do you hope fans and especially the younger musicians take away from your story?
A lot of things, you know, learn as much as you can. And like I said before, learn about the music business, learn about publishing deals and management contracts. And, you know, say you've got a manager. As an example, I got a manager and he gets 10% of your gross money. And you don't get paid till he gets paid, for starters. You get paid after the bills are paid, which is one of his bills. So you're doing great, and you're successful, and you want to have your mother open a greeting card shop just for fun and giggles. You want to get her a Hallmark franchise store just to give her something to do.
Right.
So now, does your manager get 10% of that money or not? Think about that for a second.
Yep.
You buy into a race car team, he's going to get 10% of that, or a racehorse, or anything else you invest your money in. So you have to make sure that it's only 10% for your music, nothing else, not building a new house or being part of something else. But a lot of people don't watch that, you know, and that's what lawyers are for, is to read the fine print, because that's not cool.
Right.
We can change that. So I would suggest that they, you know, pay attention to that and learn as much as they can and go out and play with people, meet all kinds of people, and do it staying in your basement. And in today's world, you can sound like God, all this, you know, laptop stuff, and have a recording studio right here in the computer. That's what we do. We do all our stuff's all remote recording now. But you have to go out and play. So you need to go out and play nightclubs and play in front of people. That's where you learn how to be a musician. You learn about people, instances, and material for you to write songs. You just can't do it in your house. Got to go out there and slog away in the bars and not get paid, get ripped off. The truck breaks down. You know? Somebody throws a beer mug at your head.
Yeah.
The fun stuff. So you have to go through that to really enjoy the cream of the whole thing. I wish anybody luck, and I have much respect for anybody that, no matter what style of music, whether it's country music or jazz or any indie band, to go out there and put a bunch of people together and rehearse some songs and get in a car and go someplace and perform it someplace and get eggs thrown at you or become millionaires. But I respect all the other people that go out and do that, because it's not easy. There's a lot of bands I don't particularly care for their music, or, you know, why are they famous? I don't know. I don't particularly care for that artist or this artist, but they've got a following. They have millions of followers, maybe. And just because I might not like that, I mean they're successful, but I wish them all luck, you know, appreciate what they've done to get to that point. So
ground and pound, right? Just get out there and
keep an open mind to all these people, and you never know who you might come up with. You know, I was going to audition for Patti Smythe back in the '80s, and her music director said, "Hey, we opened for you guys in New England when I was in a band called the A's from Philadelphia. Remember us?" And I said that, yeah, and we were nice to them. They were opening act, and it was cool. If we were jerks to him, I wouldn't have got that audition. It would have gone a different direction. So you got to be careful with all that stuff. And you see the same people on the web as you see on the way down.
Exactly.
So,
you never know when you're going to need somebody, right?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, that came out of the blue. It was, hey, we opened you guys. You guys treat us pretty good, you know. So I didn't do that audition. Something else came along, but that was a conversation I once had. It's
just the point.
In the book.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. So appreciate all the music that's come before, and appreciate what's going on now. I'm not a big rap fan, but, you know, those guys get out there and do it. Not everybody can do that, stand in front of people and do the performing thing.
Right.
It's a trick. So
yeah. Now, for the fans who want to follow along, do you have a website or social media that people can connect with you and keep up with everything you're doing?
Well, there's the Alcatrazz official site on Facebook. And I've got a Facebook page too. I'm the Gary Shea in Florida. I've got two friends, one in New York, one in Detroit. The Gary Sheas. There's three of us.
Nice.
I'm the one in Florida. So hit me up on there, and I've got all my stuff on there. And that's what I'm doing at this time as far as websites go. And they can follow Brave Words Records as well. This is what we're doing touring-wise and recording-wise. They regularly post all the activities of the band.
And the CD's available on their site and on Amazon as well, correct?
Yep, all there. But my book's available, and everything from Kindle to audio books to, I've got it done so, it's just done so well. I've got a collector's copy now. It's hardcover, which is pretty cool. And I'm really happy with that. I've got to meet new people, a new thing of, writing a book and going to bookstores and talking to people. And really interesting.
Will there be a documentary at some point?
Yeah, I doubt that. You never know.
That book is chock full of great stories, man, and it'll make a great Christmas gift, stocking stuffer, or if you're a digital person, there's also an Amazon Kindle version of that as well, and you won't go wrong with this one. And of course, the CD Prior Convictions by Alcatrazz, that's amazing as well, and that'll make a great Christmas gift too. So
if you got a relative starting a band or a kid down the street, you give them a copy of the book and say, check this out. This might be what you're in for,
Well, Gary, I want to thank you so much for doing this today, man. It's been great chatting with you, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And when that new album comes out, I'd love to have you back on.
Well, thank you very much. I got a birthday coming in a couple of days, too.
Well, happy birthday, too. What are you going to be, about 55?
Yeah, 55. With an extra 20 on it. It's all good.
Cool, though. You look good for your age.
Thanks. That's a good thing, too. Jim and I and Graham have been going since the 60s. We had bands in the 60s and played all over the place when I was 16, 17 years old back then. And if we do it, still do it now, it's pretty amazing. That's a grace kind of thing. Very thankful. So, have Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hope your New Year is great. And hopefully we'll talk to you down the road. And if we get to work, we'll definitely hook up with you.
All right. Well, you take care and enjoy the rest of your day, all right?
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gary, thank you so much for joining me today on The Record Machine Show. Your journey from the early grind to New England to building and sustaining Alcatrazz and finally putting it all into words with no bass, no party is a powerful reminder that the foundation matters. It proves that longevity in this business isn't about flash or hype. It's about heart, grit, and never letting go of the music that drives you. For everyone listening, be sure to check out Gary Shea's new book, No Bass, No Party, available now on Amazon, and pick up the new Alcatrazz album, Prior Convictions, on Brave Words Records. We're gonna wrap things up with another brand new track from Prior Convictions, Transylvanian Requiem. Crank it up, feel the power, and let it rip. I'm James Michael Hollenstein, and this has been The Record Machine Show. Rock hard, stay loud, and until next time, keep those records spinning.
Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Hall Productions. All rights reserved. For distribution information or to add this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.